So here I'm going to show off several versions of Highclere Castle that I've built in Minecraft. You may recognize Highclere Castle as the setting for Downton Abbey. It's been used in a handful of other films and TV shows over the years. The original house was built in the 17th century, heavily renovated in the 18th century, and then most famously in the 19th century by Sir Charles Barry, who also did the Houses of Parliament. Now, this was the first attempt that I made. This was over 10 years ago now. This was in a creative world that I had set up. Now, back then, there were some limitations to Minecraft. I don't think there were any stained glass pieces at the time. Um, there weren't very many wall or fence varieties. But all the same, I was excited to try to build my own version of Highclere Castle. We have the salon, the staircase, the dining room, the library, the drawing room. Uh, very standard. All the walls are the same, the fireplaces are the same. There isn't a whole lot of variation here. Sometime after that, in my survival world, I decided to build a house based off of Highclere Castle. This one is smaller. It has 2 floors instead of 3 on the main house. I built it out of stone instead of sandstone. Now, this survival world became a creative world at some point. I had started a new survival world, and there were a few things I wanted to do in here that I decided to turn the cheats on. And it was after building this one in survival that I went ahead and built another one in creative here in the same world. So this is properly the second version of Highclere Castle that I've built in Minecraft. It's on a similar scale to the first one that I built. Also uses sandstone. The towers to square. Here we'll go in through the library. By now we have a little bit more color being used. Some of the proportions are just a little bit better. This was after dark oak was introduced to the game, so I used that for the main staircase. Smoking room. Drawing room. It was also around this time that I started to use an ancient Roman texture pack. Now, that texture pack has been updated and changed over the years. And more recently, I made plenty of changes to it, took out some of the more overtly ancient themed items and made it look a little bit more modern, relatively. I call it classical craft. The major things I introduced were bits of furniture by changing the models of some items. Now that was all stuff I did recently. This Highclere Castle I still built about 10 years ago. So I'm just changing the texture pack to show off a little bit of what the colors look like. Now, this texture pack is available for download on Planet Minecraft. So is my main creative world. And you can see some of the colors look a little bit better with this texture pack, especially here in the salon. This was back when there was still only one type of trapdoor. I tried to make a map to make panels. It didn't come out all that great, but it was something new that I tried. So now I'll show off the next major one that I built. In between, there were a couple of other versions. One was in a multiplayer server, and I actually built it for another player. Another one was that I started, I didn't do very much, and I ended up losing the world. This is in my main creative world that I started back in 2017. Now this Highclere castle is actually on a larger scale than the other ones that I built. You can see I still have the nice squareness to the towers, but the height and the width between the windows is a bit larger. I also was a bit more creative with some of the color uses. Here we have the library. By this time we had different types of walls, which I used as pillars. Now I lived with this one for a few years, and I did always like that it was large, but after rewatching the show Downton Abbey, I realized it's a bit too large. It's just a bit too sprawling. Drawing room. Part of it was that I wanted to make sure that the furniture didn't crowd the rooms too much. I wanted there to be enough space to move around. So I was okay at the time with how large it was. The grand staircase. I did try some other things, like importing images as maps to create a real-life painting of Charles entering on a horse. That's in the real-life dining room. This is a real-life painting in Highclere Castle, though I believe it's in the library. You can actually see up in the corner how I pulled it from Google Images. I also put some outbuildings in the back. Nothing that's actually behind the real one. Basement is also largely unfinished. This is the old floor for the foyer. The upstairs rooms are also largely unfinished. This was going to be the kitchen. Never really got around to it. We just have some outbuildings, barns. This one looks like something out of a state fairgrounds. I really just wanted to try my hand at building a large commercial-sized barn. So for a while, this was the best version that I had built. I was very happy with it, and I still like it. But Recently, I decided to try my hand at Castle again, do something a little bit closer to reality. There are a couple small things like here, this should actually be 3 windows across instead of 4. So this is an old version of my main world. It's an older backup version. The current one, where I've built my most recent iteration of Highclere Castle, is here. Now I know the world is called France. The original idea was that I was going to build a Parisian-style city, which I have built plenty of French buildings, but also plenty of English and American ones too. So this is the most recent version of Highclere Castle. For this one, I actually used the plans as estimates. Actually, there was a specific Reddit post that had floor plans for each floor of the castle. Ultimately, I realized it wasn't actually entirely accurate, but that's okay. I don't need it to be 100% accurate. I know that there are plenty of renovations and there are also matters of privacy. I'm not going to try to figure out exactly what is everywhere. This one I built in just several days. I started it just late last week. We have the library. Some of the colors I try to match more to the real one. And here we have my custom furniture models, which are nice. They don't, I mean, the chairs are just buttons, so they don't block you in or anything else like that. But the rooms, while still very big with very high ceilings, are just a little bit closer to reality. So they feel a little bit more cozy, a little bit more intimate. My custom lanterns. My custom Victrola. Here we have the music room. Though the music room isn't entirely like the real one, I just wanted an excuse to use some of these designs that I came up with. I thought it came out very nice. This is actually a dropper that I've retextured to look like a harpsichord. Here we have the drawing room. This is actually a stripped log type. I textured it to look like a Victorian wallpaper. I've used it in a number of places in my most recent builds, and I like the way that it looks. But you can see the drawing room just a bit smaller than the previous version. Smoking room came out pretty well, I think. These panels, which are another stripped log, stripped pale oak, I believe, come in handy. And we have some of the other rooms, like the pink room. This is an office back here. This is an experiment. I tried to build a working Minecraft clock. It does go through 24 hours in a full Minecraft day. The only problem is that it still runs even when the game is paused. So it's kind of useless as a timekeeping device. Here we have the back staircase with another wallpaper texture that I brought in. Here we have the salon. Very similar to the previous one. Just a few slight differences, mainly the paneling on the wall. The staircase with custom railings that I made out of gates. The dining room. And In my custom texture pack, one of the paintings I brought in was actually the painting that's in the real-life Highclere Castle. So I have that in here. And for this one, we'll go upstairs because I actually took the time to furnish all of the rooms upstairs. We have some nice chairs, tables, desks. We have some little hidden areas, like this staircase that goes down to the library and then down to the butler's office below, and also to the tower room here. This is something that I pulled from the plans I looked at. It's a family sitting room up here with a balcony overlooking the salon. I haven't quite figured out what is over here. In real life, it could be a family sitting room for all I know. I kind of like the idea, and I wanted to play around with this paneling that I designed. Some of the other rooms. This is another fence gate that I redesigned so that when it's in wall, it looks like a secretary's desk. Looking down the stairs. Third floor. We have stairs that go up to the tower rooms. This is also something that I disagree with on the plans. It shows a bedroom being here above the grand staircase when I don't think this actually exists. I did find an old cross-section plan of what the tower was built to look like, and I don't think that there's a room there. I don't think there's even a hallway here. But if I didn't have a room and a hallway here, that would mean that you would have to come up these stairs and go in a horseshoe all the way around just to get to rooms over on the other side. So, or you could take those stairs, but still. I like the way that I designed this. Here we have one of the tower rooms, looking down over the front door. Yeah, this looks down on the skylights over the salon. One of the other things I figured out was that I could have different textures for slightly damaged and damaged anvils. So that means I have 3 different colors of anvils to use. And the sandstone colored ones I've used here. I also have a much more accurate servant's wing in the back. Now in Downton Abbey, I believe that they show the servants' quarters as being up in the attics of the main house. But from everything I can find, the attics of the main house, well, the roofs are really shallow, and there's really not a whole lot of room to have bedrooms up there, let alone bathrooms and anything else needed to house domestic staff. It makes much more sense that, well, in real life, there is a wing that looks like this off of the back, and that would have all of the necessary staff rooms. This I also took from the plans from Reddit. And they're just basic rooms. We have work areas, sitting areas, little bedrooms. They all connect to the main house. And then the main house, I made sure to build a full basement underneath. We have a trunk room, kitchen over here. I might want to redesign that. I'm not crazy about the way the lights are, but we have a wine cellar. This is the butler's pantry, butler's office, silver storage. Now again, pulling from the plans, it showed the butler's bedroom as being here off of the butler's office. I don't know if that's really where the butler's bedroom was 100 years ago, where if that's where it is now, but it was the first time that I actually built the basement for the castle, so I needed something to fill in the area. But altogether, I'm very happy with it. And next, I just have to work on doing the grounds. Having the pathways connect to everything else that I've built. But the house itself, as it is, pretty well finished. I even have the little vestibule doors there, which I never put in before. These stables over here are just a stand-in. I may want to rebuild them at some point, or at least redesign them. At the very least, I just wanted a place to put some of the horses. But this is my most recent iteration of Highclere Castle, better known in the show Downton Abbey. I hope that you enjoyed it. I hope you enjoyed seeing my progression through the years of different versions, and hope you'll join me for the next one. Thanks. Bye.